Howdy, it's Jim Morado, and this is late September 2022, and we're in Vancouver, British Columbia. We're taking an Uber ride, actually towards the Crime Museum, or I guess the Police Museum in Vancouver. There's one of their big stadiums in town we just passed. We're going to be passing and kind of going through the Hastings area. This was the only time we would go through here. You know, I'm not local. I don't know the geography there well, but I talked a little bit to our Uber driver and other people who had had differing opinions about the Hastings area. Yeah, I want to be careful. I don't want to be judgmental. I don't want to. I like being as neutral as I can be. But Hastings is an area where, it's known for homelessness and drug use. I think that's a fair thing to say. And as somebody who worked in mental health for well over a couple of decades, I mean, this is something I know about. Yeah, I do have opinions about it, but who doesn't? And this is just an interesting area. And I think we're going through some of the Chinatown area. We talked to someone at our hotel who told us, don't even come to this area. And okay, fair enough. And we talked to other people who said, oh yeah, it's okay to walk in that area. No one's gonna hurt you. And someone told us, don't worry about the homeless because they're provided for, including financially and with drugs. I didn't see anything crazy happen. In fact, to be honest with you, we drove through here a little bit more. With the tent city and all of that, I couldn't point my camera at some of it. I mean, some of it was, it just kind of made me sad, to be honest. But yeah, they have kind of a tent city and, their homeless population. And again, I'm not local. I don't want to comment on this too much. I have listened to, there's the Vancouver Crime Podcast. A really good podcast, by the way. It's very fascinating. And, I know the host has expressed certain thoughts on this, and he's interviewed people, with different opinions about it. I've read some stuff online. I do know that the city of Vancouver is trying to clear out the tent city, if for no other reason, because it's a fire hazard, and that has been an issue here recently with the area. But, so anyway, we went down to the police museum, or I guess the crime museum, I forget what it's called, but it's in the old morgue. It's right by the police station, and it's, kind of right in the heart of everything. And by the way, we enjoyed that museum. It was fascinating. But, yeah, the Uber, pretty much let us off right, kind of in the middle of everything. I will say Vancouver, and I'm going to put up other videos about other things we did. But in general, I found Vancouver to be a wonderful, beautiful, larger city. I personally prefer smaller towns, and this is a major area. But I found it to be nice, and we felt fairly safe when we went places. And we walked quite a bit. But yeah, I'm kind of fascinated with Hastings. If you know of a recent book about the area and how it's worked, I would be interested to read that book. Just because it's such an interesting and somewhat unique situation. Vancouver kind of reminded me of New York City pre 9/11. but on a smaller scale. It still had a little bit of a wild feel to it in some ways, but it wasn't people on top of people. Yeah, and there's some of the tents. Yeah, it wasn't exactly people on top of people, but it's still a major, major happening area for sure. And yeah, and again, it's sort of, it just reminded me of New York City when I went there before 9/11. Of course, if you go to there now, it's, I mean, you feel safe just about everywhere. And more of the tents. And again, this is just a brief view. I know there are other videos on YouTube, well, that show more. What do you think, though? I would love to hear from people in Vancouver, and I would love to hear their opinions about this. And you know, again, we some people just expressed, there's a wide range of opinions about this. I mean, again, you know, one of the Uber drivers we talked to was like, oh yeah, they're here, you know, they're not in anybody's way, they're all in one spot, you know, again, away from most of the tourists, away from a lot of the citizens of Vancouver, I guess. But I was reading a book the other day. I forget the name of it, but it's a book about the first 5 seasons of the X-Files, which were filmed in Vancouver, and there was a little bit of information about a shot that was being filmed in on Hastings and some of the issues they had. And I know, I think I left it in here. I don't think I edited it out, but as we're driving, you know, you can kind of see homeless people, and then, well, I assume they're homeless, and then it looks like a film crew, pretty much right next to them. Oh yeah, yeah. Here we go. There's a little. Looks like they're maybe making a movie or something. By the way, if you know what they're filming, let me know. I would just be interested. But that, you know, again, not to go on and on with New York City comparisons, but it reminded me a little bit of my first trip to New York City in '94. I was eating at the Harley Davidson Cafe, and I could look to my left, and there were what had to be models getting out of a limousine. And I looked to my right, and there were people trying to sleep in a cardboard box. And yeah, maybe that's a thought to leave you with. You know, you've got people making, you know, a movie, and right next to them, people living in tents on the street.